Christian Horner hints at Lando Norris decision as Red Bull alarm bells raised. Christian Horner may soon need to make a decision over who partners Max Verstappen at Red Bull, with Sergio Perez's position under threat. Red Bull chief Christian Horner has told Lando Norris that Max Verstappen cannot have another Alpha driving alongside him. Verstappen cruised to a third successive world championship in Saturday's sprint race at the Qatar Grand Prix, amid speculation over whether Sergio Perez will partner him next season. Perez's own form has stuttered in 2023, with the Mexican struggling to keep up with Verstappen. The 31-year-old has 2 Grand Prix triumphs to his name this term, but has been linked with a departure from Red Bull. McLaren ace Norris has been hotly tipped to partner Verstappen in the future. However, Horner has warned that Red Bull cannot have 2 alphas driving their cars, instead requiring a selfless star like Perez to allow the Dutchman to thrive. Norris is a strong personality who would likely want to go toe-to-toe with Verstappen. Horner might therefore pass up the opportunity to sign the 23-year-old. The Red Bull team principal was asked by Sky Sports about the possibility of Lewis Hamilton or Fernando Alonso partnering Verstappen. He responded, "If you put 2 extreme alphas in a team, it'll tear the team apart. So you always want to achieve, I think, the right balance. That's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned." Verstappen has driven Perez into a very distant second place in the drivers' leaderboard, with the latter sitting 184 points behind the champion. But he appears to have the full backing of Horner to see out the season in second place. He can do it. He can finish second in the championship. He'll have all the support from us in order to do that, Horner continued. I think if Checo just focuses on being the best that he can be, rather than trying too hard to beat Max, I think his results will naturally come. It comes after Verstappen clinched his 3rd World Drivers' title in as many years. He just needed to come 6th in Saturday's Qatar Grand Prix sprint race and ultimately finished as the runner-up behind Norris's McLaren colleague Oscar Piastri. This one is the best one. I think the first one was the most emotional one because that's when your dreams are fulfilled in F1, but this one has definitely been my best year, Verstappen reflected. The most consecutive wins and stuff, the car, it's Aston Martin engineer planning revenge on Lance Stroll after being pushed in anger. Aston Martin star Lance Stroll responded furiously to crashing out of Q1 at the Qatar Grand Prix. Aston Martin trainer Henry Howe will get revenge on Lance Stroll after being shoved by the driver in Qatar, Ted Kravitz has said. A furious Stroll pushed Howe after a bitterly disappointing Qatar Grand Prix qualifying session. The Formula One star crashed out of Q1 in Lusail and was clearly devastated with his display, but tensions then appeared to boil over when he returned to Aston Martin's garage. Stroll pushed past Howe as he made his way to the exit door of the garage. Howe then followed the driver, to which Stroll responded badly and pushed the member of staff even harder. Sky Sports reporter Kravitz revealed that the Canadian has since apologized to Howe. Stroll has apparently admitted that Howe will get his revenge with a brutal training session. So, I have a little bit more for you on the Lance Stroll pushing his trainer Henry moment. So, he has apologized. Obviously, it wasn't a cool thing to do. Lance has acknowledged that, Kravitz said on Sky Sports. Henry was trying to get him to go out the front of the garage to do the walk of shame down to the FIA weighbridge, and that's why Lance, all full of emotion and adrenaline, disappointed in himself, Lance is his own harshest critic, was really annoyed that he hadn't performed himself, and in a moment pushed away his trainer Henry. He says he's apologized to Henry, but he says they're like brothers, and Henry is going to get his own back on Lance when he next puts him through one of his training sessions, and that Lance is absolutely sure that Henry will have his revenge on the push, which didn't look cool for Lance Stroll, but Lance has apologized about it to Henry. So he said that they've all moved on, and you can understand that even though it wasn't a cool look, that when they're as close as they are, as a driver always is to his trainer, that these things can happen in the heat of the moment. So yeah, don't beat up Lance Stroll too much because he's beating himself up even more. Stroll will start Sunday's race in 17th after a challenging few days. It comes as Max Verstappen sealed his 3rd successive world championship in Qatar during Saturday's sprint race. Aston Martin engineer planning revenge on Lance Stroll after being pushed in anger. Aston Martin star Lance Stroll responded furiously to crashing out of Q1 at the Qatar Grand Prix. Aston Martin trainer Henry Howe will get revenge on Lance Stroll after being shoved by the driver in Qatar, Ted Kravitz has said. A furious Stroll pushed Howe after a bitterly disappointing Qatar Grand Prix qualifying session. The Formula One star crashed out of Q1 in Lusail and was clearly devastated with his display. But tensions then appeared to boil over when he returned to Aston Martin's garage. Stroll pushed past Howe as he made his way to the exit door of the garage. Howe then followed the driver, to which Stroll responded badly and pushed the member of staff even harder. Sky Sports reporter Kravitz revealed that the Canadian